pay off my house mortgage, anything that I want to accomplish by 2029. We're just gonna jump right into this video, but I have been in a funk, or this might not even be the opening clip, but yeah, I've been in a funk for like the past 2 months, I would say, and I've been fucking sitting still, not working, or am working, or just being, I don't know, inefficient, we'll call it. And one of the problems definitely is that I just don't fully isolate myself anymore, like mentally. Like, for example, the gym has become very, very difficult because I'm thinking about work that I should be doing, or just the trading market. The trading market is definitely what consumes my thoughts more than anything. And then it's not healthy thoughts. You know, it's kind of like thinking about all the bad things I did, all the things I should have done, or, you know, things like that. And then they just kind of distract me from my workout. And then it kind of creates this bad psychology in my head as well, going into the markets the next day. So like, I'm already burning myself out mentally for the next day entering the markets for trading. And I'm not enjoying my workout because I'm distracted. So then I'm already, you know, taking 2 massive L's there. And then during the markets, I'm thinking about work a little bit, like work, before I start my actual work. So then I'm just kind of distracting myself there. So I'm just not being good about siloing my responsibilities. And that's kind of, since I'm always thinking about that, that's burning myself out before I even start anything. And we were talking about that earlier today in my group that I go to, small business as entrepreneurship. And honestly, I'm happy that I went because it was very refreshing. You know, my wife and I were talking last night about this funk that I've been in, and it was a good conversation. I felt a lot better after it, just kind of having, you know, some kind of drive and direction again. So I'm gonna man the fuck up and get back to it, because, you know, this morning was easy. Morning was great. I had a non-brain compute task. I had to just go return a vacuum, clean it up, and, you know, do all this stuff to it so I can get my deposit back. And I felt like awake, versus before I just start feeling tired and drained and fatigued before I even do anything. You know, and that's probably because I was thinking about the markets. If I'm awake at night or in the morning, 4 a.m., 2 a.m., I'm thinking about like the markets. I'm like kind of having like a faint dream about it. So I'm just like thinking about it way too much. So I'm draining myself before anything even happens. And then obviously that's not good for you. It's not good for your mental on many aspects of, you're thinking about the bad, at least myself, and then I'm just kind of self-fulfilling stuff like that. And I'm burning myself out mentally before I even get to it, and then I'm just becoming physically drained throughout the day for no reason, like after having a good, decent amount of sleep. And then, you know, since I'm not siloing anything anymore, or just not anymore, I don't know if I ever really did that properly, but since everything is spilling into each other, I don't actually get like independent thought. I can't just strictly focus on the markets. I can't just strictly focus on work. I can't just strictly focus on going to the gym and enjoy my workout. I can't just do the thing that I'm currently doing in that moment. And that's generally okay for me if I'm like in the proper headspace, but since I'm not in the proper headspace, it's draining more than anything. And for better or worse, I know that my body is pretty good on working on cortisol. You know, it makes me be a lot more productive and efficient and a whole bunch of stuff like that. So I'm going to try and rip off that band-aid today, tomorrow, and just kind of get back to it. Workout done, and honestly, ironically, what I think I need, it's as simple as it can fucking be, is just to touch some fucking grass. I'm inside all day, so I'm probably feeling like shit all day. But like these 2 minutes of just walking outside is really refreshing, so maybe just gotta touch some fucking grass. Alright guys, it's currently 1:30, can't sleep, so started working on the apps. My HRT peptide tracking app is got some bugs that I want to take care of before I resubmit it to the App Store, and I'm also, while my brain is spinning, I'm thinking about the next application and kind of writing down notes and ideas as they come to me, just so I don't forget them and keep them track. But I'll give you some more information on that later once it's in a better viable state to show. But I want to talk about my personal goals and what I actually want to achieve. So it's pretty simple. There are about 3 things that I want to achieve. I want to pay off my house mortgage, and I'll put in what the actual of what we owe. I want to get my wife her car. And yeah, that's about it. That's the only thing I want to do, which is obviously massive things to accomplish, but I don't see no reason not to. And I'm going to attack it with a few different angles. One of the angles I'm approaching with is obviously trying to day trade and get some consistency out of that. That is a struggle. Yeah. Another option is I'll go in order of actual potential, financial return. Day trading, obviously, the financial return could be whatever you make out of it. And so far, I'm not making shit out of it. But that's unfortunately where I'm at. Hopefully, I believe that I can progress farther to actually make this a massively viable solution. The other option is I'm making an application. This application is made to track certain health metrics, and I believe it's a growing market that I hope I can tap into just a little bit. And then the third thing is a second application that is going to teach you how to trade, or teach you about trading. Not how to trade, is going to teach you about trading. It'll teach you concepts, terminology, why certain things react, and just kind of like a small tidbits of information. I try and make it in small digestible pieces, kind of like Duolingo, where you can just sit down and do something for like 5-15 minutes. Because at the end of the day, it is daunting to sit in front of a computer for a couple hours just to review some material, and there's a lot of information out there. So I'm going to try and organize it the best I can to, easier flow in digesting that said information, so that way you can then go on and do deeper research, or just learn about different things rather than just get funneled into one specific structure already. So day trading, 2 apps, and the last prospect is obviously maybe the social media posting return some revenue, but honestly I'm not doing social media for that. It's more of just kind of like a video diary, journey, accountability, and just kind of, if anything, for myself, reflect later down the line. But yeah, that's pretty much how I'm going to achieve these goals. Day trading is obviously an ever-growing environment. The first application is pretty much in the done state. I just need to do some finalizing of the App Store review process. The second app is a lot more in-depth, so I have a lot more reviewing for it to do, and just making sure that it's as fine-tuned as possible. I don't want any wrong information in there and things of that nature. And then the social media thing is, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it's not kind of my target anyways. But yeah, I don't want to become rich. Or, I do want to become rich at the end of the day, but, that's not my goal. My financial goals are just pay off the mortgage, and honestly just that. Because, once I pay off the mortgage, I can pretty much get anything that I want. I say that in the most humble way possible, because, a mortgage is a massive endeavor. But after that, it's kind of it frees up a lot of income that I can put in elsewhere. So these are my goals that I want to accomplish by 2029. So we'll check in later.